So as we discussed earlier, right? So what goes into the Kubernetes? Like what is Kubernetes? And Kubernetes is a portable, extensible, open source platform for managing containerized workloads. And we discussed about that. Let's say I have a multiple parts on the nodes on the within the cluster. I have a multiple parts. If one of the part goes wrong, let's say I have 4 parts doing the same job, and one of them goes wrong, I wouldn't mind because I have a 3 which is serving right now, and the Kubernetes is gonna manage the traffic between them. Actually, let's say right now I have 100 people, they are trying to access the application, and the 25 people allocated to one part. So I have 4 parts, and 25 into 400. Okay, the load is good. And what if one of the part is down, and I need to still serve 100 people? Kubernetes is going to do that. And the main advantage with the Kubernetes, it is going to restart the parts itself actually. So it is going to restart the service, it is going to restart the parts, everything. Even if it is you don't restart it, it can get us the logs, like what went wrong and how it is unable to pull that the image or whatever it is. Okay, and how we can configure that? So there is a column that you need to provide readiness probe and liveness probe. So based on the time frame, whatever the time frame that you provide, based on the time frame, it is going to restart the parts until it come up and things like that. Okay, so in the Kubernetes there are 2 components. One is the control plane components, and the other one is the nodes. Okay, what is control plane and what is nodes? The control plane is like a commander. He is the person who can control the nodes. Basically, the nodes are the places where we deploy the microservices actually. So we have a controller and we have a nodes. The controller will manage the nodes, and the nodes, they serve the application because they have the microservices in it. Okay, and in the controller we'll have a Kube API server, API application platform server. What application platform it is communicating with? Kubernetes application platform. Okay, and this is the HCD. This is where we store the parameters basically. Okay, this is people look for the high available key value storage, like a store key value stores, like a parameter, like a secrets, all those stuff. We store them in HCD, which is in the controller component. Okay, and a scheduler. This is the person who can schedule the jobs and who can schedule the cron jobs are based on the requirement, and who can schedule the traffic and all those details. Okay, and we have a control manager, and all these people does a we one component, like a basically one component. If you have a idea about the controller, and that's fine. Basically what we do, we just configure the controller, and we will be given the values, and we will add those values based on the requirement, and that's it. Remember, one of the guy asked about the config maps. That's where we can configure all the networking details and the HCD details and all those details. That's the guy who can manage the controller basically. It's kind of not like 100%, but it's kind of. Okay, and we have a nodes. These are the nodes. Actual kubelet and the kube proxy, these are running on the nodes basically. Remember, we got a kube proxy error, like proxy is nothing but like it is the one who is running on the specific port, and all those details, they are belongs to the node components. Okay, and we'll have a namespaces. Namespaces is nothing but so which to identification purpose. Let's say I have a production, I have a staging, I have a testing, non-prod environment. How I can define the resources? I can create a namespace, and I can define the resources inside that specific namespace. So based on the namespace only, the developers or testers or admins, they will get permissions. Let's say I'm testing on something, I can create a test namespace, and I can provision a test cluster. I can create a test node group. I will have a 100% control on that, only the test namespace that I created. Whatever inside that namespace, the test namespace, whatever the resources that are in the specific test namespace, then only I can able to access them. It's the same, very similar like AWS IAM, right? Whatever the permissions that you have, and based on the permissions only you will get access. But here you will get access for complete namespace. If you are supposed to have access to that namespace, yes, you will get complete access for that only specific namespace. It's not like a entire Kubernetes permissions. It is like a specific. We are creating a a specific namespace, and we are allocating resources based on the namespace. That is the namespace. Okay, and I kind of mentioned that when to use multiple namespaces. Namespaces are intended to use in environments, and the users spread across multiple teams, and based on the team, like based on the application, they create namespaces. That application, let's say for example, there is an application that is communicating with a kayak application, right? Let's say the airlines application, Delta Airlines, and that is communicating with a kayak. If somebody book a ticket through kayak, it is going to make an API call to Delta Airlines. There is a specific team working on that application, and the team of 10 people, right? They will have their own namespace, and they can create resources, or we can create resources, and we allocate the resources for that specific namespace. Let's say I have another application team, and I can create a separate namespace. I can allocate resources for that separate namespace. Based on that kind of stuff, we use namespaces. Okay, and let's go ahead and get started. So yesterday we were confused. Actually, Rani helped me to get this command. Actually, this STS command that was missing. So that is why I would want to open one tab at a time. That's why I have all these details in a single document, and we can go ahead and get started. So since I'm doing this on AWS EC2 instance, I'm using their default AMI, right? Since it's kind of Amazon Linux, AWS CLI has been installed on that Amazon Linux already. But if you are using your MacBook or whatever, you should use this specific URL. This is from Amazon documentation to install AWS CLI. So I have that AWS CLI installed, and let's go and install kubectl. Kubectl nothing but Kubernetes controller. Okay, and let's go ahead and try to install that kubectl. Let me connect to my AWS instance first. I have so many tabs open, but that's okay. And let's see EC2. I think I have one instance created already. Okay. So you guys have those URLs. If I'm stuck, I want you to guys help me. That's why I shared the document in advance. So I want you to guys pay attention. One session, 1 hour, and you are good with the Kubernetes. Like one day, that's it. You're good with the Kubernetes. If you are good with the Kubernetes, no, that's a huge step. So I want you to guys pay attention and correct me if I'm wrong anytime. Okay. Let me connect to my EC2 instance, and this is the place where I will be working with a here. Let me go here. Yes, connect. So next, what I need to do, I need to install Kubernetes, right? And I'm going to choose Linux. Okay. Make sure follow these steps, and even they have troubleshooting steps, because they are the ones who implemented it, and they need to tell us how to use it. So I'm going to install 1.21, Kubernetes 1.21. Okay. And pay attention to the optional steps. Okay. Optional and a mandatory steps. Okay. This is the one, Kubernetes 1.21. I have installed it, and that's fine. And this is 120. I don't need it because I have installed 1.21 already. And this is optional. You see that? So I don't need it. I don't need to do it. So I would go to the step 3 actually. So this is the step 3. Let me go ahead and execute, change the permissions for this kubectl file. Okay, and let me try to, okay, I've changed it. Okay, let me try to change this details. Okay, and this is optional, you see that? So let me see whether the Kubernetes has been installed or not. Okay, client v1 version 1.21. So Kubernetes installed, and we are done with the first step. And let me go to our document. We are gonna follow this document throughout the video. And for create a cluster, I'm gonna use AWS CLI commands because we've been working on that, you know, graphical user interface for a while, and I want you guys to understand how AWS CLI works. Okay, and what I will do, I can go ahead and create a cluster. Before that, what I need to have a IAM role, actually the specific one role for controller and one role for controller and one role for node group, basically. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a VPC. I'm going to create a VPC. Okay, I don't have that. Okay, let me go and get some AWS CLI commands. How do I get that? Not CLI commands, actually access the secret key. Let me go to IAM.
Vishnu, the access keys and secret keys will be on the settings. Just go to your yeah, there.
Right here.
Security credentials. Security credentials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, access keys.
And secret keys. Nice. You see that? Create a new. Okay. Create a new access keys and secret keys. Okay. Download key file.
I think we don't need to download. You can just click on the show access key and you can copy them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that. So the issue was I cannot run any AWS CLI commands because I don't have access. Okay. That's why I'm trying to get. This is the one. Yeah. And the secret key. Let me grab the secret key. And let me run it. Okay, yes is to right. That's the reason. I'm gonna use JSON, and that's fine. Let me run this again. So it is gonna execute a cloud for could not connect the endpoint URL region.
Vishnu, no need to change the region.
Yeah, we need to change that region actually, because we need to tell like where we are creating that, where we are creating the resources, right? When we create resources in a specific region, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? So the stack ID, this one, and this is the stack name. Okay, it's being created. Okay, now once we create that VPC, and let's go to our documentation, and we created that VPC actually. Let me close this one. If I'm done with it, if I'm done with one and I don't want to use it. Did I close the one that I'm not supposed to close it? Okay, let me go to this. Okay, this is the one.
Amen. They want to know.
Can you mute yourself? Okay, so I'm going to create a policy from here only. Okay, I'm going to create a policy. So all I need to do is just, write a simple JSON file. I'm going to copy the script from the, I'm going to give the name of the JSON file. Okay, Shift I. Okay, and let's.
Vishnu, we can use the default policy, right? Why no create a policy, custom policy?
Default to policy for the control.
IAM role, yeah. Yep.
IAM controller. Okay, so we are going to use this document basically, but I'm not sure whether. So the controller.
Yeah, in the you can see in the B step B, Vishnu, there AWS my Amazon EKS cluster role. You can use that, right?
Yeah. So we are going to use this role only, but we are creating a specific policy for the specific agent actually. So what you are doing is you could select the policies from the default Amazon, and this EKS Amazon AWS.com, we are giving some STS security token from Amazon basically. So this is a specific policy, cluster role trust policy. That's what it means. Whether it's mandatory, it's not, but let's see. If we don't use that one, maybe it's gonna fail. But that's a JSON. Hey, have you write any custom policies? People will say that. Yes, I did write custom policy. I'm just writing custom policy right now, right? And let me go and grab that, I'm creating this role and I am attaching this policy as well in a one step. Okay. Cluster role trust policy, right? And this is the policy permissions basically. Allow. Which service you should allow? EKS Amazon.com service. And this is a security token. Okay. Let's go ahead and create that role. Okay. The role has been created and let me go here. EKS managed IAM policy. Okay. Let's attach some more policies. There is an extra policy, this one. This policy from the console. We did not create that policy, but that is the existing policy from the console. Okay. And we are attaching that policy as well to our IAM role. So our IAM role will have necessary permissions. Now let's go ahead and create a cluster. I'm going to copy the cluster name as well. Okay. And I will have to make sure that I'm using right region. Okay. Let me go here. Go to EKS. Elastic Kubernetes service. I'm in the right region, Ohio. Why this cluster is active? That's why they charge me 22 cents actually. Okay, meanwhile, can I add a cluster? Cluster name. And this is the role that we created, right? My Amazon EKS cluster role. That is the role we created. Okay. Let's go ahead. This is the VPC that is being created, right? You see that my EKS VPC stack. Okay. And these are the subnets that are available. Okay. And should we use a specific security group? Yes, my EKS VPC stack control plane security group. And that is the security group we're supposed to use. Okay. And yeah, I don't want to miss anything. Let me refer the document one more time. Cluster name, this one, and this is the role. And this is a VPC that we got. And a configure logging next to review. Remaining settings as a default values. Okay, did this guy tell us what security group that we need to use? He did not tell us anything. Okay, yeah, let's use it.
Vishnu, you didn't select this one, subnets.
Subnets, okay. Oh,
That
yeah.
is security group, right?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's already selected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
selected.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I click on this, right? So if it go up, then those will be disappear. But yeah, so we are going to IPv4, public, and I'm going to leave everything like that guy said. And let's go ahead and create. Okay, let's go ahead and review and create. Since the term, okay, creation is in progress. Okay, the cluster creation is in progress. So what are the next steps that we need to follow? We need to create a node group once the cluster is ready, right here in the compute, and we need to create a node group. And before that, we need to create a specific policy. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's try to configure our cluster by using this simple command. Let's see. Let's go. Is it gonna work? We'll see. S is to cluster is creating. Okay, cluster status is creating. Okay, that is fine. So we are good there. Okay, now let's go to our document and let's try to create a policies for the node group. Okay, let's try to, since it's kind of in the creating status and we're not going to get anything, create a node group. Make sure what is Fargate and what is managed Linux. So this Fargate this is something the AWS people will provision it. And what you could do, so we are not responsible for managing or provisioning any Linux nodes that are nothing but EC2 instances, and they will take care of they will take care of it. But if that is something that you need to manage by yourself, and most of the companies, 90% of the companies, okay, we don't need to provision the servers, we don't need to manage the servers, and which is very good thing. Like we don't need to manage the servers, like that's a pretty simple, pretty cool. But after a certain period of time, and they keep adding billing reports, and when they see the bills, like, okay, I don't even see this resource, like they're charging me for $2,000 for last week, and I don't find it. You don't find it because you are not the one who provisioned it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of security thing. Like, I wouldn't suggest, like, even if I'm the manager for the company, I wouldn't suggest this. Even though if I'm getting a benefit of it, I wouldn't suggest that actually. So I'm not going to put my environment in somebody's people, but I'm going to use it and I'm going to terminate it when I need it. So the managed nodes, like EC2 instances, simple EC2 instances. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a no trust policy. Okay. I'm going to use the same names, but I would suggest change everything. Okay. You guys should change. I don't want you to guys just, just follow this video and try to do it. Or I don't want you to guys just to follow this document and try to do it. I want you to guys spend very good amount of time and try to understand each and every component. We did IAM, we did work with IAM, we did work with the custom policies, and we did work with creating resources. We did work with all of them, but now we are connecting pieces together, and this is a very good opportunity for us, right? And let me go ahead and create that custom policy from AWS come online. Okay, And let me go here and grab that command and create a node policy. Okay. Okay. So the node policy is already existing. Okay. My Amazon node policy. Let me grab it. Let me try to delete it. Where should I go? I should go to IAM management console, right? Like IAM console, basically. And I can go to policies and I can look for the specific policy. I don't see any policy with that name actually.
It's a role, right?
Well,
Not
yeah,
a policy.
right. It's a role. Let's go ahead and yeah, let me delete this role. Yep. Now let's go back and try to create a role. Yep, role is being created. And let's go and grab some permissions for that specific role, okay? And we are attaching these many policies like Amazon EKS, node worker policy, container registry, Amazon, EKS, CNI policy, all of this, we are going to attach these policies to the specific role, okay? So we are going to,
Vishnu, as these policies are already exist, we can directly select from the dashboard, right?
yeah, but I can, why would I go there and, you could do that actually, but I can attach them from here as well. I just attached 3 policies. I don't even look for the search for the policies and things like that,
Okay.
Yeah, so I was talking to some guy actually before, before this, and we were talking, and that guy was saying, no management console, my friend, no management console. We see only like, command line, since we are Linux administrators, because Linux is nothing but like a command line. That's why we used Git bash. Even when we have a Windows laptops, we used Git bash to, go to downloads, folders, blah, 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 things like that. Okay. And that is okay. And let me go here. Now, okay. Now our the cluster should be ready. And what we can do, we can create this node group with the same name. Let's go to our management console. Let's go to EKS. Let's go to clusters. Yeah, you see that Northern Virginia. Okay. It's nice.
Vishnu, you went to ECS, not EKS.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're in ECS cluster.
Okay. Let me go to EKS. Elastic Kubernetes Service. If anybody asks what is the difference between ECS and EKS, what you could do, I would say, I would think like, is that a valid question actually? Because if anybody say, what is the difference between Volkswagen and Range Rover? What you can say? Both are cars only, right? And what is the difference between Benz and Audi? Seriously, I would say something like, seriously? Okay, I'll try to explain, but EKS and ECS both does the same thing. It's a container registry, container service, which is owned by Amazon, and EKS is owned by Amazon, but the Kubernetes service is owned by Google. things like that. Try to make a story and try to, why it is taking so much time. Let them know like, hey, this is the, this is what I do. Even if you don't have a 100% right question, right? What I would do, I can tell them what I have done with it. Like, this is what I have done with it. Okay, things like that. Okay, so what we are going to do after once this cluster is ready, we are going to add this node group to the cluster, and we are going to select that IAM role that we just created. Okay, and we are going to create the resources, and we are going to see we are going to communicate with we are going to set up cluster authentication as well. The command that I missed, actually, this is the command. So we are going to use that command to get authentication, and we are going to deploy simple web application. This is a sample Nginx web application. We are going to deploy that sample Nginx web application, and we'll try to deploy the Kubernetes metric server, and we'll try to deploy the dashboard as well. So when I said that, we will see how the Kubernetes dashboard looks like API looks like. Okay, and hopefully our cluster is ready. Is it ready? Yes. Let me go to the cluster. Still creating. Let me go to configuration, compute. I cannot add a node group because
It's still creating, Vishnu.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions regarding the namespaces, parts, or any of those details? Actually, we can discuss a little bit about that. Okay, so we'll discuss about parts. Like, parts are the smallest, more basic deployable objects in Kubernetes. So when these guys say object, right, you should have a little something to deploy. Actually, object is nothing but when we define our YAML file, we should tell that YAML file what you are doing. Are you deploying a cron job? Are you deploying a pod? Are you deploying a deployment? What exactly you are trying to do, and things like that. Okay, and a pod represents a single instance of running process in your cluster. What does that mean? Single instance of running process in your cluster. Anybody have any idea? A pod is nothing but group of containers, basically. Running instance of a cluster. What is the running instance of a cluster? Or like, what is running inside the cluster? Containers, right? Pod is nothing but a group of containers. Okay, pods contains one or more containers, such as the Docker containers. When a pod runs multiple containers, the containers are managed as a single entity and share the pod resources. What could be the pod resources? Any idea what could be the pod resources? Like a memory.
Maybe like load balancer.
Yeah, memory, load balancer,
Volume.
Volume.
Yep, all those details. So the containers will share those details. How they will share those details? We will write a simple deployment file. This whole part will be allocated this much memory, this much volume, and this is the RAM, all those details. Okay, and let's refresh our screen again. This is active. Let's go to compute, and let's add a node group, and the node group name, I would choose this one, and I don't need any tags that I need to add. Okay, and I would leave all these details. Okay, that's fine. Disk size is 20, maximum 2 replicas, that's fine. Desired state size is 2, that's fine. Value is 1, that's fine. I'm going to leave it. And the specify subnetworking, yeah, that is fine. Next, I'm going to review, and I'm going to launch it. Okay. Let's go here. Let's refresh it. It will take a minute. Any doubts regarding the parts? What are the parts actually? Okay. So the meantime, we can go, we can see kubectl get svc.
Spellings.
Yeah.
Yep, details.
kubectl get svc. Yeah. This is where we stuck yesterday. And thank you so much, Rani, for helping us with that command actually. So what is STS? You see that STS, right? Where if you just type STS, where that is coming from? STS is nothing but secure token service. It's a secure token service, which is because AWS people giving us permissions to use their resources. That's what it means. Like they're managing everything on their end, and they're telling us, hey, you should use this. Why I should use that? I'm a user for them right now, right? I have an account with them. I'm a user for them. I'm their customer right now. So this is the command that you should use in order to get identity or whatever. Okay. That's what STS means, security token service. So they have all the credentials in a one resource, okay, not one account, and they're sharing those credentials across the accounts. People will ask, how do you share the credentials across the accounts using security token? That's what we need to tell them. What is the security token? STS. Okay. Now you see that account ID, user ID. This is the ARN. You see that this is a root and this is account ID. This is the ARN. Each time when you generate a security credentials, you will get ARN. This is the ARN we need to pass if you are using any automation script. Okay. Next. Still, I'm getting the same issue. Rani, come on.
Yeah, Vishnu, you just added a security token, but you didn't authenticate the cluster. One more command is there in the link.
Okay.
Do you want me to send in the chat?
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the command, Rani?
Yeah, EKS update kube config region. I'm just copying the command and posting the chat.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I just posted in the chat.
The command. Okay. So I
This is
missed
Docker.
this step when I configure that EKS kubectl. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get you, Vishnu.
Yeah, I missed it when I configure that kubectl, right? Installation of kubectl is that.
Yeah, you need to configure the cluster, right? You need, in order to access the cluster, you need to tell the kubectl that this is my cluster.
Okay. So
Right. So I just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the chat, I just posted the command.
Yeah, I got it. So I can copy from the.
Yeah, I can copy from the chat, right? Or do you want me to send
I
you?
just copied
Send
from
to you?
chat actually. Let's go copy.
Ah,
Yeah, let's here. Okay.
yes, change the cluster name and region.
My cluster. Okay. Is that spelling correct?
Yes.
Okay, even if it is correct, but yeah, that's okay. East to, let's see. Okay, added
Yes.
new context. This is the ARN. This is the dot. You see that this was the file that was missing yesterday actually. Remember, I did try to go to the .kube, and that's what it was. Okay, let's see where we are going to get it. Why did you say? Oh, okay. Okay, nice. Yeah, that is nice. Get nodes, maybe. Is that the command we should use, Rani?
Yes.
Get nodes, okay. Nodes are ready. Too easy to instances. Okay. And let's go to our AWS. And let's try to verify that those two nodes are being created. You see that these are the two EC2 instances that are being created. Let's go to EC2 dashboard and to make sure those two EC2 instances are being created. So they're recommending minimum T3.medium. That means like the memory for that server should be at least minimum that the range that they are suggesting us. So that's what it means. So now we have, you see that? So what I'm gonna do? EKS development.
Vishnu, you are changing for T2 micro. That is not the cluster instance.
No, yeah, I'm just putting for my
okay.
like where I'm working for. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll just leave everything like that because I have 3 instances. This is my development server that I'm using right now. And those are the 2 nodes that are being created. So let's go to our documentation and let's try to deploy sample application, like how a sample application looks like in our cluster. Okay, let's go to this document and let me terminate these values so that I don't get confused. Deploy, we will deploy sample Nginx web application, whatever web application. Okay, so remember, in order to create resources, what resources that we are trying to create? We are trying to create like a microservice, all those resources, right? The first thing we need to do, we need to create a sample namespace. Okay, and we are the command to create a namespace is, how simple is that? And this is the namespace name. Nike men, Nike women, Nike sale. That's how they look like. Okay, this is the basically application name. It's a part of application name. That's how they use. The simple command is kubectl. For all Docker, the implementation of all Docker resources, we use Docker commands. For Git, we use Git commands. And for Maven, we use Maven commands, Java commands, Python commands, and Kubernetes kubectl. That's it. How simple is that? Very straightforward, right? And let's go to our development server. Let's create a namespace called EKS sample app. I want you to guys change that one to your last name, that even name, your last name, and any other thing. If you want to, just, you can have a simple, whatever the application that you like, maybe, Terminator or even movies, right? They make movies and they use a lot of softwares to make those kind of movies. So anything, but I want you to guys have your last name in each and every, even the cluster name, I want you to guys have your last name. Okay. Don't do that. Like if I'm doing something, just, copy and pasting, and I don't want you to guys do that. Okay. And you see that the kind is deployment. Pod is the minimum object that you can, you should at least have a pod, and this is more than pod. This is where we mention in the kind, we mention whether it is going to, whether it will be a deployment, or you're deploying a pod or a secret, or are you deploying a config map? All those details will go here in the kind section. This is a simple human readable. Okay, and this namespace that we just created, EKS namespace, this deployment will fall under this bridge, this EKS namespace. Okay, and this is a app label. What do you mean by label? It's a kind of tag, just a label. Okay, and how simple is that? Like how many replicas that I want 3 replicas. How simple is that? If you are using like a normal legacy application, if you want 10 replicas, what you're going to do, you are going to launch like 10 servers and deploy one at a time or things like that. This one, how simple is that? And those 3 will be sharing the resources that are in the cluster, like instances and all those details. Okay, and this is the match label. If you see this label only, the spec means specifications. Okay, The metadata means the name, labels, all those, the namespace. If they have any other metadata, they would provide that metadata here. The spec means specifications, exact specifications, okay? And these are the metadata for template and selector, and this is the API version. They're like default, like Ansible modules, like a default, which are implemented by Kubernetes, like a Google, basically. And so where we are getting that, let's say you're deploying a container, right? That's what we are saying. But where is the container, Vishnu? Right here in the container section. Okay. Can someone tell me what this exactly doing? So what exactly it is doing is,
Same like the Docker image, building the Docker image.
Getting the Docker image from ECR that we have just used.
exactly. Yeah, this is getting this Docker image, and it is gonna deploy the Docker into Kubernetes cluster. And it is even providing the container port. What is the port? Port 80 and HTTP, not HTTPS. Okay. And what we are going to do, this is how we create a deployment. Very simple. How simple is that? So I'm going to create this deployment.yaml file. We are deploying our first web application into our Kubernetes cluster. And let's see how does that work. Okay. We created namespace. Now we are creating that YAML file. Let me go and grab that YAML file. I want you to guys, if you guys can build an image with Nginx or whatever, not with a Maven, write a simple hello world or what Python, simple Python, like a Java code, build simple Java and build the image and, build the Docker image, store ECR. And if you can use that one, that's great as well. But I don't want you to guys spend so much time on that. Okay. But it's okay. Skip for now. I want you to guys change the details of this specific release that we are going to do. Okay. Vishnu, you are telling us so many things and we don't even have a time to do all those details. Right? It is recording, right? Let it record.
Vishnu, change the image.
Image to?
That ECR we created, right? Just go to the ECR and get the image URL.
No, but we did not create any image, Rani.
Oh, you didn't create a Docker file, Docker image, anything?
No, we did not create any Docker file. This is a public Docker image actually. It is pulling the public, Nginx Docker image, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we are gonna do.
Okay.
And let's, let's run the script and let's see. If you need to delete the deployment instead of apply, you should use delete. That's it. Okay. EKS sample Linux deployment has been created. Even let's say you are working on a Jenkins pipeline, right? And you are deploying a Kubernetes, like containers into Kubernetes, right? You know what you will do? You will copy this whole deployment file and you will have this deployment file in your Jenkins file. That's it. Things like that. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty easy. Okay. Now, once the deployment is ready, you deploy that, right? Once the deployment is ready, you need to create a service. A service is allow you to access the replica, all replicas throughout the single IP address or name. What service does? Basically, we can go here and this service is that the kind of service. This will grant you access. Basically, it will allow you to access the resources. That's what service does. In the Kubernetes, deployment will deploy the containers, right? We just saw that. Okay, deployments just, it will deploy the containers and the service will get you authentication. For what authentication? You see that in this namespace, and this is the application label. If you see application label, and you will get access by creating this service. Okay. And let's go ahead and create a sample service. Okay. Now let's go to our AWS and let's get that. Okay. So sometimes you might, when you, copy paste, you might see some syntax errors, like one of the letters is missing, all those details. Okay. I want you to guys make sure that, are doing okay. And why would I do that? Okay. Let's go to our documentation again and create this, this service. Let's go ahead and if I want to delete anything, I need to use simple kubectl delete instead of apply delete. That's it. Okay, this service is being created and deployment is being created and namespace is being created. First, in order to deploy, if anybody asks, hey, can you give me the step by step how you can deploy a container into Kubernetes? What I will tell them, hey, we need to create a namespace first. That's how we control the environments, teams, all those stuff. Then we need to create a deployment and we need to create a manifest. Manifest is nothing but just a simple service, okay? Like who can get what access and things like that. And after that, let's use this command. What this -n does is get all within this namespace. So we will see all those, the parts. You see that part, EKS sample Linux deployment, EKS sample Linux deployment, all those details. These are the parts basically. Get all -n means you will be getting resources belongs to this namespace only. That's what it means, okay? Let's go here. Okay. Okay. How many replicas that I have? I have 3 replicas, right? Let me go and change that deployment file to 5. This is how easy to scale up and scale down applications. And all I need to do, just reapply. This is the one that I changed, right? Okay, now let's go and get, you see that now I have 5 replicas. How simple is that? Like scaling your applications just like on the fly. Wow, I like it. I just like it. Let's say I need like a 6 replicas. I'm expecting a lot of traffic and you don't need to provision the whole servers, all those details. How simple is that? Like a scale up and a scale down your applications. Wow, I like it, right? And that's the best advantage with the Kubernetes basically. Okay. And what we do, so we need some security token in order to authenticate that authenticate through dashboard, but we are not there yet. Okay. And what describe does is it's gonna get us the metadata of that specific resource basically. So the describe is nothing but like you see that the describe, it is gonna get us the metadata of this application. What is the metadata? Name, namespace, all those details, labels, type, all those details, where the application is running and all the stuff. The metadata belongs to that specific, namespace or application. Okay. And let's see. This is the metadata. You see that this is the application name. If anybody asks like, hey, how I can get the, metadata of a, service or metadata of a sample application, metadata of an application, like, -n, the namespace, describe is the main thing. And obviously any Kubernetes, you should use kubectl. Okay. And let's go here. We have this metadata, and it's just to see the metadata. You have, target endpoints and a port, target port 480, and these are this is your instance 480, instance 480, instance 480. Okay, let's go and let's try something actually, and let's go to our EC2 and try to change the security group rule and try to access that application. But yeah, but let's finish this one first, then we can go there. Okay, and this is the service, describe service. Basically you're looking for the service basically. Okay, this is the describe deployment, basically the pod, actually whatever the pod that we have. Okay, let's describe that pod and just to see the metadata basically. Okay, this is a specific pod, error found. Okay, that's not found. Okay, let me change it to specific pod, EKS. How I'm going to get the pod, right? How I can get the pod, something like this. This is one of the pods, right? I have 5 pods and this is one of the pod, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this pod. You see that started container Nginx container is ready. Nginx is running on this specific pod, and I should have Nginx running on those 5 specific pods. Okay, now let's go ahead and try to look for that sample web application basically. So this is what we this is what just we did, right? So what is this run shell part that describes the previous step? Replace the ID of your parts. Okay, this is a different one, but we will see that same thing. Okay, let's do this. EKS sample Linux deployment. So this is what that guy is talking about. Okay, let's run it. Okay, now let's go and to check whether this is working or not. Okay, EKS sample Linux service. What this curl does is it will get you what application is running basically. So you will see actual output of this application in the command line itself. That's what it does. Curl means like it's in order to check the URLs and all those details, people use curl actually. Okay, from the command line. Let's check it. You see that? Thank you for using Nginx. That is a base image. That is a base image from like a base Docker image from Nginx people. Okay. Now, so assign to the namespace for all parts. Yeah, that is fine. And we don't need to do this basically. So this is a adding DNS specifically. So they're adding DNS, this DNS name for this, for this cluster basically. So what they're doing is they're adding DNS to this specific IP. So whenever they search for this DNS means Nikes.com. Whenever they search this Nikes.com, it is going to route it to this instance IP basically. That's what they're doing, and we don't need to do that right now. And we have One more step, we are going to install a metric server, and we are going to install a deploy like a pod, and let's see how does it go. Okay. Now we are going to install a metric server. Okay. And this is the metric server. We are going to get all the code from the public source code repository, and you see that kubectl-apply. So let's go here. kubectl command not found. Why kubectl command not found? Because I am inside this deployment. Basically, you see that I'm inside a specific pod basically. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get out of from there. Okay, and let's execute this. Okay, the deployment apps metric server is being created. Okay, if I do something like kubectl get nodes, those are the nodes, and kubectl get spc. Still I should have only one cluster, right? Yeah, one cluster, because this is a deployment. Actually, this is a deployment is being created. Where this deployment is being created, this is a namespace, I guess. No, this is a deployment apps, and ours is different, right? You see that? No, not this one. The deployment apps sample Linux deployment. This is ours basically. So this is the metric server that we just deployed into our Kubernetes. And let's see. Next, get deployment metric server. This is the default namespace. This should be somewhere in this YAML files, this components.yaml file. Okay, and let's go and get that. Okay, the metric server ready. 90 seconds ago, age 90 seconds ago. Okay, and let's see. Okay, we deployed a metric server, and we have one more final step to deploy the dashboard basically. Let's go here. Let's deploy the dashboard. Okay, this is the graphical user interface that we are supposed to get actually. Okay, did we consider this security? And we'll see. Deploy the dashboard. How we deploy? Using apply and the file details. That's it. This is for, you see that, regions other than Beijing, Naxia, China, whatever. And this is for those people. This is for the people who are in this specific region. Okay, let me go and deploy that. Okay, it is being created. Now let's go here. Okay, this is the output that we got. And we need to create a service account like EKS admin service. Remember, we did create a service one, the object service, to authenticate the cluster. That's what we are going to do. So we are going to create one more service. Is that service account? When you try to authenticate your Kubernetes, this is a service account that you are going to use it. It's not like a Vishnu or things like that. The service account is going to be, the actual user. So let me go and create a service account.
Vishnu, we already created service, right? So why do we need to create again service account here?
So the service account is to authenticate the Kubernetes dashboard, that's specific service account.
We already authenticated, right? The cluster, the kubectl.
No, using dashboard.
Dashboard. Okay.
Dashboard in the sense graphical user interface.
Okay.
Let me try to show you what I mean. Okay. Actually, let me go here. Let me copy this first. So this is the dashboard. This is how people manage Kubernetes. Like, let's say there are some developers, right? And they don't know how to use.
Okay, got it. Okay.
That's what it means.
Okay.
And copy this name. And let's go to create a service account. Even Ansible, whatever the development tools, Jenkins, Ansible, Terraform, whatever it is, they will create a service account and they will use the service account to run the scripts, not individual user. Okay, because let's say I need to create a cloud formation stack. I'm not, for example, I don't have a permissions if I log in and create. But if I use the automation Ansible script that is there, and I'm going to get access because I'm using the service account, not like I use my user credentials. You know what I mean? And things like that. Let me go here and I grab this file and use that service account. This is the object kind. This service account is the object. Okay.
Do we need to change the namespace here, Vishnu?
Do we need to change the namespace?
That's what I'm asking. Here the namespace is kube system, right? So we created the EKS system there.
Oh yeah.
Namespace.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question actually. Kube system, yeah, you're right. Are we gonna see what is that
EKS
name?
sample app, right?
EKS
I remember that namespace.
sample. Let's go and grab from right here. Even I can get that namespace from the server. Get namespace. That's it. I can get that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, sample app. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Okay.
And here role reference API group. Can you open the file one more? Yeah.
And last line also you need to change the
Namespace, right?
Yeah.
And the cluster, is it the cluster name issue that there is a role refer, right?
No. This is the API group role. You see that?
Okay. Yeah.
Coming from those people actually. Okay. Anything that should I change?
I think you're good.
Yeah. So this is the okay. This EKS admin is the service account username. That's it. Okay, let's run this. Let's go here. Okay. Okay, that's nice. It's created. Yeah, so the duplicated in cluster role binding duplicated in V1 unavailable. Use RBAC. Okay, yeah, that is fine. So we are using V1.21, right? That is fine.
Yep.
Okay. That's good. And let's go and to connect your Kubernetes dashboard, you need a token, the authentication token. Like to connect to Jenkins, we need a token, right? The same way. This is how we can get the token actually. But we need to change the namespace, right? Kube system to something else, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the namespace that we need to get?
EKS sample app.
Okay. Let me change it to EKS sample app. EKS sample.
App. And one more is there, Vishnu, here, Kube system.
Kube system?
It's created or what?
Yeah.
Is
Kube
it
admin is the
created
user.
or what's happening here? Huh?
Okay. Yeah, now I get it. So this Kube system, we need to change
Yeah.
this variable, right?
Mm.
EKS sample app.
Yes.
Okay, that is the token that we got. You see that? So this is the token that we got. Now let's go. Just run kubectl property.
Starting
Okay.
the server.
Localhost 8001. It is running. Okay. Let's open this. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
HTTP colons. Let's try to run it.
Did you change the security rules, Vishnu?
You need to add port 80.
8001.
Yeah. No. 80.
80.
No, this is running in this port, right? 80801, right? So that's why he didn't mention that 8080.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We need to
Change the security rules, right, Vishnu, for the instance.
Yeah.
I think inbound rules.
Yeah. Inbound rules for the instance. Okay.
Mhm.
Go to our AWS and let.
For this cluster instance, we are connected to the cluster instance right now.
Yes. So let's go to our cluster instances. So these are our cluster instances, right? Okay.
Can you make sure, Vishnu, once which instance is running there?
Yeah. So this is the, I have only 2 instances, right? And this is the specific security group that I did create, right? And let's go to the
Yes.
security group. Okay. And let's go to inbound rules, right? So right now,
It's all traffic only, right?
yeah, it is accepting all traffic.
All traffic, yeah.
Maybe add a role. HTTP by default port 80.
But it is running on port, it's not running on a port 80, right?
It is running on 8001 basically.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, but that all. Okay, let's add.
One doubt, Vishnu, it is taking all traffic, right? Then what is the point of changing in the why you are adding the new rule?
Yeah, let me add that. So all traffic it's supposed to work, but let's see. But even though it is running all traffic, right? But it is accepting only from the security group, not like.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So what we are gonna do? We are gonna change it to all traffic, and we are gonna add to 00. Cool. Okay, that is being changed. Now let's go here. Try to use it. Okay.
So here, what are we supposed to get in the output?
we need to see the dashboard basically. So
Okay.
connection refused to connect. Okay. Let's try localhost. Still not working. Okay. Let's go to the security group again. Edit inbound roles. Let's add one more on TCP. Any port. This includes any port. I'm gonna add 00. Okay. Now we change the inbound roles in the security group. Okay. Let's go to the documentation whether that guy told us anything different or okay. This is the okay. Now
Are we supposed to paste the token also there?
yes, that's what we are gonna do.
Hmm.
Localhost,
Yeah.
namespaces, Kubernetes dashboard,
Hmm.
services, Kubernetes dashboard, services login.
Proxy login.
But this is failed though.
Oh, is it also failing?
Yeah. So API v1 namespaces. Can we change the Kubernetes
Space is
dashboard?
like, do you have to give the namespace
Yeah,
name?
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, let's copy this link. Open in, but it's suppose it should tell us why I have a Kubernetes dashboard proxy login. That is fine. But why should I have like? I don't understand.
We need to paste the token also, right?
No.
The token we created, just
See
created.
that. We will see that. We will see that actually. You know what? Let me go one more time right here. Right here. And we will get there. This is the security group considerations that they suggest us actually. So I would want to see what are the security group. Okay. We need to see this recommended outbound traffic also all, inbound traffic all, self, outbound traffic also all. Okay, let's see if we have the same thing. I would use a control C. This is the security group ID. Let's grab the security group ID.
Vishnu,
Yes.
why we are changing inbound rules means outbound rules. Why we are doing only inbound rules, right?
Yeah, so the inbound
In this
rule-
case,
yeah, go ahead.
In this case, why we are editing both?
In this case, why we are editing both?
Mhm.
Because that's a recommended inbound outbound rules in order to. So we did not. We are using the Kubernetes API, and they're telling us. They are telling us how to use their API basically. So for the security
Okay.
reasons, whatever they will say, we are going to use the same rules. This is the rule that you need to use in order to work with this specific service. Is that something they told us? Okay, why not? Okay, this
See,
is
we are using different roles, or we are using same rules for all nodes.
yes, we are using rules for the the node group, complete node group that we used to create the cluster basically. So
Okay.
this is the security. We are changing the rules for the security group basically. Okay. Let's say there are 10 EC2 instances, 2 of them belongs to the cluster and 8 of them does not belongs to that cluster. They will get the same rules because they are under this specific security group, right? So that's what it means. Did I answer your question, Rani?
Yeah, got it.
So this is good. We have an extra rule as well. And next to go here. Okay. Restrict the cluster to this cluster security group 443. Control plane and node security groups. Okay, this is the control plane node security group. This is the security group ID. Let's go to our EC2. Let's go to security groups. And let's check the inbound rules. Yeah, there is no inbound rules for the security group. Okay, let's edit the inbound rules. Add a rule and let's go here and let's see what this guy is suggesting us. Okay. Minimum inbound rule. Okay, that is a minimum. This is the minimum. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add all traffic of all inbound. Okay, outbound rules. Yeah, it is all traffic is there already. Now let's try to refresh this. Oh. Still it's not working. Because it's not going to work now, right? Because our application is not running. That's why it's not going to work. Okay, let's see.
No, Vishnu, what I am thinking is we need to change the security rules in T2 micro, not in a cluster instance, because we just connected through that instance, right, to this one, I mean, terminal.
That's a good question, actually. Let's try that one.
Yeah, because we didn't connect any cluster instance here, right?
Yeah, we deployed. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Okay.
Let's try changing the security rules in EC T2.micro.
T2.micro. Okay.
Yeah.
Go and change the T2.micro rules. It's not working. But we deployed the cluster. We deployed the microservice into different cluster, right? Now what I'm doing. Okay.
Yeah, we deployed the cluster by connecting to the pods,
Okay.
not to the worker node, right?
Okay.
We didn't connect to the worker nodes here. We connected the pods.
Okay. Let's try that one.
Yeah. and choose a security group what we have chosen there for creating cluster, right?
Okay, now it has only SSH. I'm going to add a rule. I'm going to add all traffic and use all traffic. Done. And let's see if we can connect to this server. Still. Let's see. EKS sample app describes secret. Sample app. But I cannot.
Vishnu, can
Can
you
you
put the
change
outbound rules in that instance?
Outbound rules. Okay. It should have all traffic and outbound rules already, but we can change it. So this is the inbound rules, right? Let's go outbound rules. You see that all traffic already. So by default, outbound rules will have all traffic. But so what that means is I need to connect.
Vishnu, sorry, a small hunch. Like when you go to the URL, you see the namespaces, right? Did you replace with our application namespace also?
Let's try that one. What is that application namespace, Rani? Savani?
That EKS sample app.
EKS sample.
Sample app.
Yeah. I have a feeling that components or whatever the file that we applied from the GitHub repository, they have this Kubernetes dashboard namespace. That's what I have a feeling that. But okay, sample.
Yeah, let's try.
So even if we run something like this,
On
right?
kind about this.
Okay.
No, you read
Let's go history.
Kubernetes in the place of Kubernetes, not the place of namespaces.
Vishnu, you changed in the place of Kubernetes.
Which one? Kubernetes, not the namespaces. Is that what you guys?
Yes, you have changed in the Kubernetes, not the namespaces.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay. Let's see. EKS sample app.
Yeah.
So the Kubernetes dashboard will say the namespace first, then under the namespace, what we have under the namespace. So based on the previous URL, this is the namespace. We deploy this one actually, basically. So I have a feeling that, I have a very, very hard feeling that they used something, they gotta be used something in these YAML files actually. Remember these YAML files we got from the repository, right? From this recommended.yaml file, this recommend.yaml file, they have something over there, and let's find out what they have. So, let me go here. Okay. I'm gonna do Command F. Namespace. Is that spelling correct? No. You see that the Kubernetes dashboard is the namespace actually. That's why they have that Kubernetes dashboard. So what I'm going to do, the dashboard's metric server. Okay. Let's go one by one from the top. Okay. The Kubernetes dashboard and the cluster role. Okay. Done. Next, this is a Kubernetes dashboard. This is a metric server. Next, done. Kubernetes dashboard. Done. So we are going to use exact this one. Actually, we are going to use, we don't replace any namespaces and all those stuff. And let's see how does that work. Okay. And how I can remove that deployment from here. How I can deploy, no, remove that deployment. Okay. Let's go here. Okay. Now let's follow the steps again. Okay. It seems like we're not doing anything related to the cluster that we created, but let's see. So let's deploy this again. Yes, it's done. Now let's go here. The rollback, I just did rollback. You see that how simple, delete something and redeploy something. It's very straightforward, right? This is the output. We got that output. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. Okay. And I'm going to change the file to same as it is, because they have a bunch of configurations over there, and we'll see how does that work. I would want to use the same. What is the namespace that was there actually? It's the same my work actually. I get this kind of issues every day at my work. The same thing here. Kubernetes. Let's go and grab the Kubernetes. Let me go here. It's a name. Kubernetes is a namespace.
So here one more namespace created, right? Kube system.
Yeah, kube system. Yeah, this file is acting regarding that recommend.yaml file basically. So we might need more than a day in order to troubleshoot that, but I don't think we can spend a day. And let's go ahead and apply that. Okay. Has been created. Now let's go here. Connect to your dashboard. Okay, let's go here.
It was showing some warning over there. That
Yeah,
won't be.
so this is this warning, right? and this
Yeah.
is deprecated for version 1.7. So what that means is, hey, we are removing the service for 1.7 very soon, and you guys should upgrade your version to next version. But right now we have installed 1.21, and that should be good.
Okay.
Okay, and actually we did not run kubeproxy. That's why it wasn't running earlier. Yeah. kubectl proxy, that's what we need to run actually. So run kubectl proxy. kubectl proxy. Now open that. Now open that URL. Again, Safari cannot access this. Okay, let's copy this. Let's go to Google Chrome and let's see. Refuse to connect. API v1 namespaces Kubernetes Dashboard services. This is a service. Let's go to our instance. Okay. Let's go to our AWS instance. Let me check something real quick. Let me grab this instance IP and let me go here. Here. Let me change this localhost. No. Okay.
I think we are missing something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We were missing something, but I wanted to guys to get it. That's what it seems like. It seems like you guys will have an opportunity to do this assignment by your own. I like that. Why would you throw everything on us, Vishnu? Like, what? You're throwing everything on us, right? That's what professors does in colleges. Whenever they get issues, they'll give assignments to the students. So I'm